us. Welcome back to Trash Man MMA, where today we're going over UFC 313 as you see on the screen. Topuria versus Oliveira. I know a lot of motherfuckers not hype about this card. They think it's ass. Oh, International Fight Week. Oh, it's International Fight Week. There should be 5 fucking title fights on the main card. Idiots like Lucas Tracy, right? Complaining, and shitting their fucking draws. I think this card's great. I think this card's amazing. First of all, we have 2 title fights. What more can you ask for? Benil Dariush versus Moicano. Revolve versus Van. Talbot versus Lima. Come on, that's a sleeper. That's not nobody's sleeping on this fight. Everybody's hyped for this fight. Hermanson versus Rodriguez. Banger. Hyder Emil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Hey, it's something. I'm sure they're gonna be cracking out there. Viviana Rajo versus Tracy Cortez. Everybody knows we gotta have a shit break. McKinney versus Boyashev. Hey, that's hype. I'm all for that. Nico Price, Jacoby Smith, I don't know, Slaughter. I don't know. I guess every now and then it's fun to watch. I don't know. It's like watching a car crash. You just can't look away. So nobody's complaining about that one. Jonathan Deniz versus Alvin Hines. Fat asses. And 2 extremely, how should I say this? 2 guys making this fight on extremely short notice. Christopher Erwert was supposed to make we'll start right now with the predictions, by the way. Christopher Erwert was supposed to make his Dana White Contender Series debut later in August. Jackson McVeigh just fought like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on some regional promotion. He got a KO, I believe, a knee to a body. Against a fairly decent opponent who was like 5-1. But yeah, he fought 2 weeks ago. I believe it was like, I don't know, June 13th. Now he is 2 weeks later, supposed to be taking on Cedric Dumas. Cedric Dumas has now pulled out, probably because he has fucking legal troubles. And is probably in a jail cell right now. So Christopher Erwert is making his debut. Now this one's hard because instead of doing this, right, instead of watching 2 blank people, we're going to go right here. So you guys can actually see who they are. Jackson McVeigh on the left and Christopher Erwert on the right. Swapped. Jackson McVeigh is younger by 5 years. Erwert, 5 years older, about a little bit shorter. His reach is unknown. You can only imagine it is shorter as well. He looks like a guy with a short reach. But Jackson McVeigh just doesn't look imposing, And I know people from America, obviously they get a tough time, but I mean, they do kind of just get like babied their way to the UFC, where these guys from Latin America literally just any other part of the world, they have to go on insane win streaks where Jackson McVeigh can go 6-0 against fucking regional scene cans who are 3-3 and 7-11. He can beat those scrubs and get away with it. Where Christopher Erwert has to fight a little bit more decent competition, but not by much. It's not all that much better. But Christopher Erwert, he has 5 KOs, 2 wins by decision. Jackson McVeigh, 3 wins by KO, 3 wins by submission. I don't know. I really don't know with this one. This one is kind of a coin flip. I'm leaning towards Christopher Erwert, but like I said, we're gonna flip a fucking coin. So let's see. Heads is Jackson McVeigh, and Christopher Erwert would be tails. So let's flip. I flipped it once just to make sure it flips. But like, here we go again. Yeah, let me get a little zoom in action going on. So let's see. Christopher Erwert. We're going Christopher Erwert, which is good because that's actually who I wanted to go for. And we will keep this coin in our dandy little pocket for a fight coming up in a little bit. So, going Christopher Erwert, knocking out Jackson McVeigh, I'd say in the 2nd to 3rd round after Jackson McVeigh has a tough weight cut doing it 2 weeks in a row. And just doesn't have that same gas tank. Or maybe Christopher Erwert shows up being a fat fuck, seeing that he wasn't supposed to fight for another 2 months. We will see. We will very see. Next, Jonathan Diniz versus Alvin Hines. Alvin Hines making this fight debuting in this fight on extremely short notice. Jonathan Deniz was supposed to fight one of the fat ass, obese, dumb fuck Tafa bros. I believe maybe it was Justin Tafa, the younger brother. Uh, let's see what he looks like. He's bald. He's bald. His nickname is Goozy. This motherfucker's nickname is Goozy. Yo, why is that low-key aura? Wait, why is that low-key aura? Why the fuck am I fucking with Goozy now? Hold on, I might switch up my pick. Hold on, he's got some titties. But he's making this fight on short notice, and what you have to understand about fighters making their debut on short notice is that they will be juiced to the gills. This was something that I considered against Alexander Gustafsson. I was like, man, I feel like he's going to be juiced to the gills, though. He just seems like a fighter, you know? Every fighter making their debut on short notice, they're not tested. They're not tested. So why wouldn't they be fucking sauced up? You know what I'm saying? So Alvin Hines does have a chance. Let's look at his competition, though, and see how he's finishing his fights. So he has 3 wins by KO, 3 wins by submission, and 1 win by decision. Now let's actually look at his comp. Billy Ray Valdez, 4-1. Junior Hicks, 2-0. Finished both these guys. Finished Valdez in the 3rd. Finished Junior Hicks in the 1st with an arm triangle choke. Wow, this guy's fucking... This guy is, what do you call it? This guy's fucking tactical. You know what I'm saying? Mark Courier, 3-4. First bum. Finished him in the 1st round, though. That's exactly what you want to see. Taylor Escamilla, 2-1. Ground and pound in the 2nd. Justin Smith, 3-0. He unanimous decisioned him. Hey, that's good. That's fucking good. Will Johnson, 1-3. Finished him in the 2nd. Philip Laptu, 2-0. Finished him in the 2nd round. Rear naked choke. And he also has 3 fights on the regional scene. Finish, all in the 1st round. Wow, why is this guy low-key a sleeper pick? Although I think he might just be like a fat, plotty heavyweight, low-key. But Jonathan Deniz is the same thing, and Jonathan Deniz is not much more technical. Jonathan Deniz is 8-1, you know? Who is this fucking bum fought? Besides fucking Marcin Tybura, you know? Carl Williams, 10-1. Okay. Austin Lane, 12-4. Eduardo Nieves, 7-1. Rodrigo, 1-0. 1-0, 0-0, 22-23. Extensive kickboxing background. Okay, I didn't know about his kickboxing background. So yeah, we'll go Jonathan Deniz by... Honestly, I don't even know how well in shape Jonathan Deniz is going to show up. So I can't even really say 1st or 2nd round KO. But we're going to go... Yeah, 2nd round, gassed out, fat man, just like, you know, his fucking stomach is on like his stomach is touching Alvin Hines' stomach. They're like touching fat, obese, fat fuck stomach to stomach. And Jonathan Deniz, I don't know, like fucking coughs and, you know, just like stomach KOs him or something like that. You know what I'm saying? On to the next fight. Nico Price. Get the fuck out of my face. Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. Jacoby Smith just looks so weird, does he not? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the size that they have like on these pictures. But this motherfucker looks like a fucking bantamweight. You know what I'm saying? He looks so small. He's fought on the Contender Series. And then he fought Connor Matthews. And he finished him in the 2nd round. I'm not going to lie. I don't remember either of those performances. It felt like it's been... This guy fought like last year, you know? Why are you fighting 6 months into the new year? Damn near 7, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, what the fuck, dude? What's going on here? What's with the inactivity? But obviously, I'm not gonna shit on him too much. Nico Price is not a lot taller, but he's a lot longer. He has a 4-inch reach advantage. He's 2 inches taller. But it's Nico Price. It's Mr. Dodo Bird himself, you know? Shout out Lucas Tracy. Mr. Dodo Bird himself, Jacoby Smith, he's just going to ragdoll him. He's 10-0. I don't even really got to look at his competition. All I need to know is that Nico Price is 16-10 for all I'm concerned. I don't care. If Nico Price pulls this off, I want a formal apology from Lucas Tracy for putting Jacoby Smith on his like top 10 prospects of 2025. I want a personal apology from Lucas Tracy. I'm making this pick solely because Lucas Tracy has been glazing this dude, and so has everybody else. But mainly Lucas Tracy because he's the only one that made a prospects of 2025 video. Anyways, I'm going Jacoby Smith by brutal first round KO. If you can't KO him faster than Robbie Lawler, we got a fucking problem on our hands. On to the next fight. Terrence McKinney versus Viashev Borishev. Now, this one actually is tough. I do see a lot of people struggling with this one, saying, oh, it's a really 50-50 fight. And to an extent, I agree. It is a very tough matchup. It is a very hard fight to pick. Not necessarily because of how good Vyacheslav Borishev is, but simply because of how inconsistent Terrence McKinney is. You don't know how he's going to show up. You don't really know the mentality he's going to approach a fight with. Although you kind of do. He's a kill or be killed fighter. I'm glad that he's still in the UFC. I believe he's coming off of a win? Who the fuck did he win against? Hold on, Terrence. We're going to do a deep dive. We're going to do a deep dive on you real quick, Terrence. Who the fuck did you beat? Who? Damir Hadjovic. I'll pretend I remember that. Terrence McKinney. You go with your bad self, Terrence. Anyways, Vyacheslav Borishev coming off of a loss to Tom Nolan, I believe. No, he beat Tom Nolan. Fucking hell, dude. Who are these guys fighting? Who are these unranked bums fighting? Oh yeah, he's coming off of a loss against Tom Nolan. Okay, whatever. This is tricky because I don't know how Terrence is going to show up. Is he going to show up to kickbox? I sure hope not. Vyacheslav Borishev, I'm going with Terrence McKinney, okay? I'm going with Terrence McKinney. The reason why is because Vyacheslav Borishev, he got fucking dropped by Chase Hooper. Like, Chase Hooper! Bro, the guy that's the grappler? You know the 155 grappler that's supposed to be the next Charles Oliveira because of how good his ground game is? Yeah, he got caught and dropped by that guy with with an extended straight arm right overhand. The most goofiest looking punch of all time. And I know he got caught, he got dropped. But then he also just got ragdolled and he got his ass whooped on the ground. Like it wasn't even like competitive. He just got whooped on for, I think he got to the third round, maybe the second round, but for the better part of 10 minutes, he got his ass whooped handed to him by Chase the Dream Hooper. And I personally think if you put Terrence McKinney in a striking match against Chase Hooper, I think Terrence McKinney low-key put hands on him. I think low-key, Terrence McKinney got to do it, you know what I'm saying? But if you're getting dropped by Chase Hooper, and you're taking James Lontop to a split decision, nah, dog. I don't rate you at all whatsoever. Lost to Tom Nolan as well. Whatever, bro. Not a terrible loss, but I think Terrence McKinney, I think he's reinvented himself in a way. I believe after his last loss or his last win, I forgot, either one, he posted on his Twitter, he was like, so thankful to the UFC that I was able to sign a multi-fight contract again in this scary time where a whole bunch of people are getting cut. Because at the time, a whole bunch of people were getting cut. So I think Terrence McKinney is not only fighting for himself, but he's fighting for his job in these 3 fights or in these how many fights he signed in this multi-fight contract. I think he's going to be fighting for his not only for his life, but for his job. And so I think that he's going to be a very dangerous fighter. I don't think he's necessarily going to come in there with a entertainment fight. I think he's going out there with the I'm going to win by any means necessary type of performance. So I think grappling heavy, going to take him down, going to beat him up, going to get his back, going to kind of just do what Chase Hooper did to him. Maybe not to that extent, maybe not as good, but I could see Terrence McKinney on his back. Vyacheslav Borishev face down, kind of covering up, and Terrence McKinney kind of just like repeatedly hitting the guard over and over and over again until it's a TKO stoppage in the I'll go in the first round because that's the type of fighter Terrence McKinney is. He's a first round fighter. So I'm going Terrence McKinney first round TKO over Vyacheslav Borishev. On to the next fight. Viviana Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. If you ask me who Viviana Araujo last fought, I'd spit in your face and I'd tell you to get the fuck away from me because I have no idea. Tracy Cortez last fought Rose Namajunas, I believe. Is that correct? Let's see who Viviana Araujo last fought, though. Karine Silva. Okay, and before that, she lost to Natalia Silva. Before that, Amanda Ribas, Alexa Grasso. She only beat Jennifer Maia. Excuse me. 2 wins I do not rate. Hopefully my laptop ain't too laggy to where this is just, like, unlookable app for you guys. Yeah, dude, her last fight was in 2024. July 13th, 2024. Cortez rebooked. She was supposed to fight Maverick. Oh my goodness, bro. It's been a whole year. Holy fuck. Wait, when did Viviana Araujo last fight? November 16th. Okay. Viviana Araujo is a lot older. I believe she's 38, and I believe Tracy Cortez is around 31 years old. There's not much of a difference in the reach, leg, or height, or really anything besides the age. Significant strikes landed. Araujo up. Viviana Araujo more well-rounded. I'm going... Dude, literally all the stats tell me to go with Viviana Araujo. We're flipping a fucking coin. Alright, hold on. We gotta make sure it's on... We gotta give it a fair shake. We gotta make sure it's on heads first. Every good coin flipper knows. Okay. Every good coin flipper knows that you gotta go start on heads first. So, heads is Viviana Araujo, and tails is Tracy Cortez. I'm low-key hoping I get Viviana Araujo, but hey, we're leaving this up to the gods, man. Anyways, heads, Viviana Araujo, tails, Tracy Cortez. Let's flip. Come on. Let's go! Okay, Viviana Araujo, second round TKO, or submission, either or. Viviana Araujo defends her spot. On to the next. Hyder Emil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Hyder Emil 11-0, Delgado 9-1. Their stats are fairly similar. Delgado coming, exceeding Emil just by a little bit in every aspect. Leg reach, and height. He also might be a little younger. I believe Hyder Emil is like 35. He's not a young buck. Where I believe Jose Delgado is kind of a younger guy. Maybe not by much, but I definitely think he's like a 30, a 31, opposed to a Hyder Emil who's like 35. Okay, so Jose Delgado is a fucking lot younger at 27. Hyder Emil 35. Definitely has some miles on the tank. This one's hard. This one's real hard because I don't know either of these guys, and I'm not gonna sit to you and pretend like I do. I believe Jose Delgado. I believe in his last fight after he got kicked out of the venue because why wouldn't you just kick the fighters who just fought for you out the venue, right? Why wouldn't you do that? I believe he posted, unless this is a different fighter, but I believe he posted up at a bar, with his with this girl or something, and there's like an old man to his right, and he was like pointing at the TV. He was like, "Yeah, I just fought on that." Or maybe that was a different guy. After he got a pretty vicious KO, I'm assuming. Yeah, I want to say it was this guy. Comp wise, 8-0, 7-2, 7-2, 4-1, 3-3, 4-6, 5-1. Not bad competition. He also has a seemingly extensive amateur career. We fought a whole bunch of scrubs. Oh, this one's also really hard. This one's also really hard. I don't know what to do because I don't know how I feel about going for the 35-year-old. 6 wins by KO, 1 win by submission, 4 wins by... William Gomez is a really good win, though. Jong Yong Lee. Daniel Santos. This is also a really good win. Jung Young Lee, that's a really good win. Fernie Garcia. Like, damn, these are good wins, you know? Like, these are pretty damn good wins. He's 6-1-4. Let's see Jose Delgado. 5-4-0. Ugh. Why is he the favorite, though? I don't get it. Why is Delgado the favorite? Is it because Hyder Mule is so old? I don't. Fuck, dude. This is hard. I kind of want to go Jose Delgado. Wait. Jose Delgado beat Conor Matthews. Who the fuck did the other prick beat? Who did this motherfucker beat? Because I thought this guy beat Conor Matthews. Preston Parsons. Fucking hell. Guys, this is really difficult. Like, who the fuck am I supposed to go for? Sorry if I'm giving you guys like a fucking seizure as well. Moving around my thing too much. This is hard, dude. What am I supposed to do here? Should I flip a coin? No, because then I'd be too much of a coin flip artist, you know? But fuck, I don't think the coin's gonna do me wrong here. Fuck it, we're flipping a fucking coin. Hyder Emil, heads. Jose Delgado, tails. Flip again. Jose Delgado. We're going Jose Delgado. Jose Delgado by 29-28 decision. Split decision, actually. Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez, the last fight on the prelims. Might I add a banger on the prelims as well. This is a good fight. This is a fucking good fight. This is a great fight, matter of fact. This is an amazing fight. Jack Hermanson coming off about a year layoff after beating Joe Pyfer in a 5-round main event in the Apex. Gregory Rodriguez coming off of a 4th-round TKO loss to Jared Cannonier, also in the Apex, both Apex Warriors. The only difference is Gregory Rodriguez. Look, I'm gonna just make it plain and simple. Jack Hermanson fraud checked Joe Pyfer in a 5-round fight. 5 rounds where he dropped the first 2 because Joe Pyfer was so explosive and so powerful in those first 2 rounds that he wasn't able to overcome it. It wasn't until the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th where he was able to get his feet underneath him and actually start applying work. This is a 3-round fight. He will not have those extra 2 rounds to work. Therefore, I believe a even more powerful Gregory Rodriguez, who is at least 2 times as powerful as a Joe Pyfer, 2 times as... Honestly, I think Gregory Rodriguez is just a lot better than Joe Pyfer. I think if they were to fight, Gregory Rodriguez will sleep him out cold, put Joe Pyfer in the face, you know, in the mat, face forward, face first into the mat. I think he's a lot more powerful, a lot more dynamic. I think he has a better chin than a Joe Pyfer. Why am I comparing to Joe Pyfer? Because he fought Joe Pyfer. Anyways, I think Gregory Rodriguez can just do what Joe Pyfer did in the first 2 rounds, but better, quicker, and meaner. I don't think he will get hurt, even though he's coming off of a KO loss. It's Jared Cannonier. That motherfucker hits like a goddamn truck. So no loss, and no shame to that loss. But yeah, I have Gregory Rodriguez winning the first 2 rounds, potentially sleeping him in the 2nd or the 1st, but maybe gassing out a little bit, losing the 3rd. Jack Hermanson loses. Gregory Rodriguez wins 29-28. Or a KO. KO or points is what I'm saying. So I got Gregory Rodriguez. On to the first fight of the main card. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. Now, my oh my. This is a tough fight to predict. No, it's not. I'm going Felipe Lima. Look, Felipe Lima was able to... he was able to do what he did against Muhammad Naimov on like 9 days notice, up a weight class. If you could do that, if you could get the back of Muhammad Naimov and choke him out in the third, and still maintain that good gas tank. He did fight Miles Johns as well. He took him to a 30-27. He just like whooped on him. I think I think people are overrating Felipe Lima's like ground game, as he doesn't get much control time. He doesn't get many takedowns. So I don't see Lima being able to do what a Ronnie Barcelos did to Peyton Talbot. Not at all, not even close. But I think he'll be able to mimic it enough to keep Peyton Talbot not as sharp on the feet, have him missing, kind of winging shots, maybe gassing out. You know, when you throw a powerful shot and you just completely miss, you just gasses you out 10 times more. So I think Felipe Lima will be able to do a good job since he's so short, moving his head, bobbing and weaving, getting in close to Peyton Talbot, who does kind of like a firefight. You know, Peyton Talbot isn't the kind of guy to in and out, in and out. You know, he's kind of a firefighter. You know, he kind of gets in there, throws nasty, and whoever catches who first win. I think Felipe Lima would be able to do a good job at getting, honestly, some just like trips, some sweeps in there. You know, getting in close, getting like, you know, a body lock on him, tripping his leg, falling him over, ending on top, and just kind of riding him out for the rest of the round. You know, get a good body lock on him, rain some ground and pound shots. Peyton Talbot kind of just, you know, not circling, but, you know, kind of rolling, trying to get out. But Felipe Lima doing a good job at following him, good top pressure and everything. So dangerous pick, but I'm leaning towards Felipe Lima. Honestly, I see this as a 55-45 type pick where I'm leaning Felipe Lima that 5% more. If you go Peyton Talbot, I'm not blaming you. He's a lot taller. He's 2 inches of reach on him. I think Peyton Talbot could do a good job at staying back and sniping, but I think Peyton Talbot is going to be looking to get into a firefight, looking to get a brutal highlight KO, and I think Felipe Lima knows that, and he's going to do a good job at avoiding that KO shot. So I got Felipe Lima 30-27. I got Felipe Lima 30-27. On to the next fight. Brandon Raw Dog Royval versus Joshua Van. Now, I was actually supposed to watch Royval versus Taira, which I have on my screen right now on my TV, and I completely forgot that I was supposed to watch Royval versus Taira before I made this prediction. But I will go off of memory from what I remember of the fight. Brandon Royval coming off of 2 wins against Brandon Moreno and Tatsuro Taira. Joshua Van is on like a 3-4 fight win streak. His last fight being Bruno Silva. Before that, he fought damn. Who the fuck did this motherfucker fight? He fought somebody. Oh, Cody Durden. Fought Cody Durden, I believe, before that. Anyways, this fight is tough. Brandon Royval is a lot taller. He's 4 inches taller. He has a 3-inch reach advantage. Brandon Royval is a wiry striker, but I do believe people do overrate his wiriness a bit too much. Yes, he does throw crazy stuff. He throws knees up the middle, but it's always an accident when he fucking lands this shit. It's always accidents. Joshua Van throws forward with intent. Brandon Royval does. This fight is interesting because Brandon Royval is on the front foot a lot. I look up and Royval's completely on the back foot against Taira right now. But Brandon Royval, I watched a little bit of him versus Moreno. He was on the pressure a lot. I also fell asleep during that fight. Not live, but when I tried to rewatch it yesterday, I fell asleep. Brandon Royval pressures a lot, is always going forward. Joshua Van does not back up. Joshua Van is the exact same. Joshua Van presses forward. And I've noticed Brandon Royval being a lot more comfortable backing up, being on the back foot and striking. Joshua Van doesn't really do that. If you have Joshua Van on the back foot, something's wrong. That motherfucker's on the verge of getting KO'd. So I think if Brandon Royval has Joshua Van backing up, it's bad news bears for Joshua Van. Joshua Van will get not slumped, but probably just like peppered up TKO'd, you know, where he's not throwing back and he's just like defending himself, but So I was like, all right, bro, that was already 15 shots. Yeah, they all hit your guard, but like you're not throwing anything back. We gotta stop this fight. That's how I could see the fight ending in favor of Brandon Royval. But Brandon Royval he likes to back up. He likes to. He's comfortable backing up. And I feel like if Joshua Van can capitalize on that and not make it so comfortable, and not giving him that space to just back up and disengage like a Brandon Moreno does, like a Tyra does. You know, these guys aren't gonna follow up with something. In multiple instances of Brandon Royval versus Brandon Moreno, like Royval will get some shots off and stop. And then Moreno will just throw an overhand and stop. And there they are just standing in front of each other again. A Joshua Van isn't going to do that. A Joshua Van isn't going to see you throw. A Joshua Van isn't going to see you throw, stop, and become stationary in front of you and throw one shot. Brandon Royval leaves himself open to the body a lot because he's so tall. And I believe I could see Joshua Van ripping to the body with some nice, clean body shots and just absolutely hurting Brandon Royval to the body, backing him up even more until the point where Joshua Van has you in his kill zone, has you up against the fence, is cutting you off, is cutting off the cage, and he's just teeing off body shots. Brandon Royval is a tall, lanky guy, and I think he'll be very susceptible to those body shots. Like, look how long his fucking like sternum is, like his fucking abdomen. You know, he just seems like a long guy. He is a long, rangy striker. That is something I'll give him. He was kind of He looked like he was so far away from Brandon Moreno, but he was still landing shots. So I can't see that as an issue for Joshua Van, as we've seen Joshua Van go up against another 5'9" opponent in Charles Johnson and get slumped out cold in the third. But that's not the only tall, rangy striker that Joshua Van has fought. He's fought guys like like Edgar Shayrez, and who's that other guy? I keep on wanting to say Edgar Berlanga, but that's a fucking boxer. Who's that other guy? That guy from like Peru that he faced. I can't remember his name, but he fought him in like his second, maybe third fight. Let's go back. Oh, Kevin Borjas. He fought Kevin Borjas, who's also pretty tall himself. You know, Bunez was his same height. Joshua Johnson was that same height. Shayrez was a little bit taller, not necessarily 5'9". I believe he was like 5'7"-ish. Cody Durden, roughly, or probably around 5'6". Suruya, who is a just grappler merchant, and Silva, who was I think a little bit shorter than Van. But I don't believe either of them will be shooting takedowns. That's not their primary go-to way to win a fight. Yes, they are both good grapplers. Brandon Royval more so a offensive grappler than Joshua Van. Joshua Van's more of a defensive, let me get back to my feet and start letting my hands go type of grappler. He's an anti-grappler essentially. I don't see Brandon Royval being able to dominate in the grappling. He is long, so I think it could give Van some trouble getting up, getting back to his feet. But I can see when he does get back to his feet, wrenching body shots and then going up top and having a just kind of a, and just a nasty performance where he kind of just puts the hands on Brandon Royval. And Taira was putting hands on Royval. Taira showed that in that fight he had no head movement. His striking was pretty garbage for the level that he's at. Not garbage, but like I said, for the level that he's fighting at, his striking was very weak, and he was able to land some really hard shots on Royval, some really good shots. Also, Taira was able to absolutely just out-grapple Royval in the second and fourth round, I believe, completely winning that fight. And might I add, both of these wins of Brandon Royval are split decision. And I think Joshua Van, who slow start in the first, we have to address that. He's a slow start in the first, but I do believe in the second and third, he will be able to clutch up, landing nasty body shots, ripping to the body, then going upstairs, and just kind of being nasty on him. I think Brandon Royval's best plan of best course to go with this, or best plan. Best way to win this fight is throwing knees up the middle, uppercuts up the middle, and just overhands. Just kind of not taking the technical side out of it. I think he can actually do a very good job being an extra wiry striker than he normally is. But I got Joshua Van winning 29-28. I wish this was a 5-round fight. This fight's amazing. And I got Joshua Van becoming the #1 contender. And then facing off Alejandro Pantoja next for the belt and beating Alejandro Pantoja. I don't mean to ruin my pick of who I got on the main event or anything. But yeah. On to the next fight. Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Honestly, I've seen some people's predictions. I see a lot of people saying you must have forgot who Beneil Dariush is. Nobody forgot, little bro. In his last 2 performances, he got slumped absolutely out cold in the first round in both of his fights against Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. You're getting KO'd by Arman Tsarukyan? Sorry, my boy, your chin's kind of cooked. I see people saying Beneil Dariush has a better chin than Moicano, which is fucking absurd. This is hard. I genuinely don't really have a pick for this fight. I'm kind of leaning Moicano just because I don't know, dude. I don't know why I'm leaning towards Moicano. All right, I don't know why. I just am. They're the same age. They're the same archetype of fighter. I do believe Beneil Dariush is a bit more slick of a striker. He does have a lot more thud on his shots. Where Moicano is more so just pepper. Just pepper. Bop, 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 bop. Dariush has a lot more thud, a lot more substance to his punches. He's not afraid to throw overhands, where I think Moicano won't, Moicano doesn't throw overhands, right? Beneil Dariush is kind of a bit more gritty. They have almost the exactly same record. This is tough because I can see Beneil Dariush having that Iranian power. They just got bombed and shit. I can see him being like, hey guys, stand up, Christ, believe in Christ. There's one thing, there's one true God. Head ass after a win, which would be inspirational. I'm gonna hate to watch this fight because both of these guys have such aura-filled post-fight interviews that I'm going to be sad that I won't be able to hear the other ones post-fight interview as well. So this one's really hard. I really want Beneil Dariush to win, but I think Renato Moicano, I don't know why I think Renato Moicano has it, but I think he does. But this honestly is an extremely close fight. Beneil Dariush did have a good fight with Mateus Gamrot. Did beat Mateus Gamrot. Who's Moicano beating? Who's Moicano beating, He's beating like Benoit Saint-Denis and Jalen Turner, who's retired, Drew Dober, Brad Riddell, Dos Anjos. He didn't even beat Dos Anjos anyways, but he did take that fight on short notice. Whereas Beneil Dariush, he's beating Mateus Gamrot. That's a good win. Who else is he beating? It's been a long time since he's won. It's been 3 years since he won. Tony Ferguson, gross. This is even worse than I thought. Not Dustin Stoltzfus. Holtzman, Diego Ferreira, Drakkar Close. Yeah, buddy. I'm sorry, Beneil. I'd love to hear your post-fight interview and talk about God and talk about Iran and your people, but I think Renato Moicano's got this one in the bag. Just not younger, but more active, and just more momentum behind him. So I'm going Renato Moicano. On to the next fight. Fuck, this video so long. Alejandro Pantoja versus Kai France. Now this is a y'all must have forgot type fight. I see way too many people picking Kai France. That's just the disrespect, man. The disrespect that you have on me. Alejandro Pantoja is mauling this kid. He's absolutely mauling Kai France. Like, I hate the narrative of Kai France has the biggest chance to beat Alejandro Pantoja. Why? Why? Because he has an overhand. Because he has a step in overhand right, step in overhand left. That's why. Dead ass. That's why he's a nightmare matchup for Alejandro Pantoja, because he throws overhands. Bro, every single all of Pantoja's defenses, every single one of those guys, Brandon Moreno, Brandon Royval, Steve Ursay, and that other Japanese guy that came, all those guys are 10 times better strikers than Kai Kara-France. Kai Kara-France is an overhand merchant. He's a fucking Maori aura merchant. Dude, all he has is a right overhand, step in, overhand left, step in, overhand right, step in, overhand left. That's all he has. All it's going to take is Pantoja to duck his head, double leg, or duck his head, single leg. Like, it's simple. Like, Kai Kara-France is a bit shorter. I feel like Alejandro Pantoja typically fights guys who are a bit taller than him. But so Kai Kara-France might be a little bit harder to take down than a Pantoja. I mean, than Pantoja is usually used to. But I just think in the scrambles, Alejandro Pantoja is going to dominate. Kai Kara-France is coming off of 2 losses and 1 win against Steve Ursay, who he fluked the overhand right over. And I'm just going to be honest, it was a fluke overhand right, dude. He couldn't even put Ursay out cold. Like, deadass, he couldn't even put Steve Ursay out cold, and you guys are expecting him to chin Pantoja? Steve Ursay was getting up immediately after the fight got stopped. Like, it was more so just like a TKO. It was a TKO, bro. Like, it wasn't even a KO, really. I don't see how Pantoja loses this fight against simply a power puncher. I don't see. Although I did watch Kai Kara-France interview with Demetrius Johnson, and he seems like a really chill guy. He seems like a really cool dude. Really chill, calm guy. But I think his head's not in the game. If you were watch that interview, he has a whole bunch of stuff going outside of the UFC. He's a rugby coach for a professional rugby team. Like, I don't think this guy's head is all in the game. Where Pantoja, this is all he's got. I'm pretty sure. He's got kids and he wants to be the best, and I think he's gonna show that, and he's gonna dominate. And he also has dope ass new shorts, by the way. So I think Pantoja's gonna win. This win though is gonna make Volkanovski's legacy a little bit worse, because then Pantoja will be one of the guys who's like 35 to win a belt under 155. So it's gonna infect Volk's legacy a little bit, but not too much. But I think Alejandro Pantoja, 49-46. 49-46 is Kai Kara-France. On to the main event. The evilest man in the UFC versus, bro, dead ass. This is like, I don't know, bro. I'm going to make the same comparison. This is like Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker right now, dude. This is just complete bad aura, negative aura. This is the devil on your shoulder. This is the fucking devil on your shoulder, on your left. And then you have Luke Skywalker, the angel, the fucking ray of sunshine on your right. This guy's walking through freaking O-Block, getting freaking King Von edits made of himself. This guy's just a jolly guy. This guy's a jolly guy. He's probably walking out to some, I don't know, something hip, something hop, I need a hero. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's walking out to. But Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. This is a tough fight. Ilia Topuria is pretty short. He's 3 inches shorter. 5 inches reach disadvantage. But, bro, if y'all saw Charles Oliveira game plan, he already posted it on his it's already posted on ESPN. He said, I'm walking forward. I'm going forward. I'm the lion. I'm not backing down. The lion does not get backed up. So this kid, right into Ilia Topuria's plan, as Ilia Topuria said in his own press conference, I don't have to close the distance. The reason why my KOs take so long is because I have to close the distance. With this guy walking forward like a fucking head literally on a stick. No head movement whatsoever. I'm not gonna have to get close. I'm not gonna have to get forward. I'm just gonna fucking put this guy's lights out immediately. And And I think he can. I think he can do it in the first. I think with that being said, a Volkanovski who's on the back foot, a Max Holloway who's on the back foot, I think those guys, he does have to get in close. He does have to take time to find the reads. He does have to take time to find out how to step in. Charles Oliveira, that's taken out the window. He's already in. Ilia Topuria's already thrown overhands. He's already thrown shots to the body. Charles Oliveira might throw a flying knee that completely whiffs. Or maybe hits the shoulder of Ilia Topuria. And then once he's that close, maybe Charles Oliveira throws an elbow. But before he throws that elbow, Ilia Topuria already got off like 2-3 shots. Charles Oliveira don't know what hit him. Ilia Topuria is way quicker than Charles Oliveira. Ilia Topuria already landing shots. I don't think he's going to be throwing low kicks. Ilia Topuria doesn't really throw low kicks or body kicks or anything like that. He's a boxing heavy style fighter. Charles Oliveira, I think he's just a little bit too wiry in a bad way and a little way too chinny. People say, oh, he hasn't got dropped in his last 2 fights. Bro, who did he fight? Or in his last 3 fights? Bro, who did he fight? Deadass, who did he fight? Oh, my bad. He fought Beneil Dariush. Oh, my fault. He fought a fucking Arman Tsarukyan. Cool. Oh, he fought fucking Michael Chandler. Bro, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here, dude. Deadass? That's deadass how you're going to try to gaslight me right now? Beneil Dariush, Arman Tsarukyan, and Michael Chandler weren't able to drop this guy? Nah, shit, they weren't able to drop this guy. But look at every other power puncher that were able to drop this guy. They all dropped him. Easy. All in the first round. Repeatedly. Ilia Topuria KO'd the guy with the best chin in the UFC in Max Holloway. Yes, he was coming down in weight, but hey, Max Holloway said himself he didn't even bulk up that much to 155. He knew he was going back down. Charles Oliveira, who has a brutal weight cut as it is, I don't even know if this guy's making weight. We don't know if Charles Oliveira is making weight or not, bro. We see his weight cuts. This guy genuinely kills himself. Kills himself to get to 155. 156 alone. And now he has to cut that extra pound, which is notorious for being a pain. And you think Ilia Topuria can't land a shot on him? He will land a shot on him. Fucking hell, hold on. Jeez Louise. Stop the video. That's so annoying because now I'm gonna have to fucking put these videos back together. But as I was saying, I forgot what I was saying. But Ilia Topuria, he's going to catch him. Charles Oliveira, he's gonna be extra chinny, cutting that extra pound. And I think Ilia Topuria will be able to put him out in the first round. He's not gonna have to close the distance. He's not gonna have to follow him. He's not gonna have to find those reads. Charles Oliveira is gonna serve his chin on a silver platter to Ilia Topuria in the first. Get a quick finish. I have Ilia Topuria by first round, brutal flatline KO. Sadly. So yeah, that's my official prediction for UFC 317, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. A lot of these fights are close. Beneil Moicano, Talbot Lima, Emil Delgado, Araujo Cortez, McKinney Borshev, Erwin McVeigh. A lot of these fights are, toss-ups. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be dropping a video soon about some fights that were just recently announced. So stay tuned to that. It'll probably drop. This video is probably going to drop today. But the next video is probably going to drop tomorrow. I'm trying to be more consistent. And I think it's going to be a real good video. So I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like. Leave a comment if you watched all the way through. Appreciate you. Stay tuned.